So a couple of videos ago, I did an analysis on one of Moon Carl's tokens, and in the comments section, I got a couple requests for two other tokens to do a similar analysis on. So I've combined those two tokens in this video. We're going to be discussing both of those. Now, if you're only interested in one of these tokens, I've bookmarked down below. You guys can fast forward to the part that you are most interested in. The two tokens that we're going to be talking about today are WINkLink and MagicCraft. So again, those are the two that we're going to be doing an analysis on. Now, keep in mind, this is a super surface level analysis. I'm just looking based on what I see on CoinGecko, through the token websites and the teams behind them. Now, WINkLink, for those of you guys who don't know, is based on the Tron network. Now, I'm not super familiar with the Tron network, but what it is an Oracle system for the Tron network. So picture Chainlink, but on Tron, basically. So to get it started off, if you look at the token price chart, and from my understanding, this is one that Justin Sun has kind of hyped up quite a bit, you can see that it has the signature pump and dump looking chart. Now, I'm not saying that this is a pump and dump, but here's the WINkLink chart, and here is the textbook pump and dump chart that you can just Google and find. It's not based on any one particular thing. It's just showing you the general pattern of what happens to the token price on a pump and dump. And as you can see, it's pretty stinking similar. So again, not saying that is what this project is, but you got to admit, they look pretty similar, highly correlated there between the two charts. Now, this is, again, a Justin Sun project, and I'm always super weary of tokens that are overhyped. And what I mean by that is the influencers come out, they post about them a gazillion times, and, they try to hype it all up, and then you get one pump like this out of it, and then it dies forever. And that's super tough, especially for an Oracle token, because even Chainlink, who is the leading Oracle system of all of crypto, they're involved in just about every chain imaginable. Now, they aren't on Tron, not that I could find, but even they have a hard time sustaining the price. And the reason for that is because outside of speculators, there's really not much of a use case for the tokens. Now, in Chainlink's case, in order to start a node, you have to stake Link tokens, so that drives some demand behind the token. But if there's no new nodes being added, then it's really just speculators buying the token, and that's really hard, especially when you're going against the team who usually holds majority of the tokens, and they're selling pretty frequently to fund the project. Again, I don't know if that's the exact scenario that's going on with WINkLink, but it is pretty common. I mean, really amongst any tokens, and then especially when you're talking about an Oracle token that doesn't really have a massive use case. Now, again, this is surface level, so maybe there's a bunch of uses for the WIN token that I'm just not familiar with. But again, based on the chart, it looks like we're sort of off in the same ballgame there. Now, I tried to look up on the website what exactly the token was being used for, and the only thing that I could find was in the WIN white paper, which says WIN is a TRC20 token. The WINkLink network utilizes the WIN token to pay WINkLink node operators for the retrieval of data from off-chain data feeds, formatting of data into blockchain redeemable formats, off-chain computation, and upgrade time guarantees they provide as operators. WINkLink will power the WIN token in many ways. So they kind of give us a little bit here. Like, we can see that, the node operators are getting paid in WIN, but I'm going to talk about why that's not necessarily a good thing, because when you get tokens like this where, operators or whoever it is are getting paid in the token, what's often happening, especially in a bear market, is as soon as they get paid the token, they're hurrying up, they're selling it, and they're moving it into stable coins or, another token. So, a lot of these node operators, if I had to take a guess, as soon as they receive the rewards from the WIN token or processing the transaction or the data feeds, they're probably selling it and converting it into stable coins so that they have a stable treasury, that way they can continue business despite the token price fluctuations. So again, it is a use case, but it's not necessarily a good use case for the token price, in my opinion. Anytime there's a token that's emitting like this, because don't forget, a lot of times, in order to pay the Oracle network, you have to emit those tokens. So somewhere they are getting printed. I don't know where it's happening in the process, but it is happening. And a lot of times, again, they're selling those and transacting, which is putting a lot of sell pressure on the token. But outside of this statement, I couldn't really find any breakdown of the tokenomics. I don't really know who's holding what. I could find on CoinGecko, obviously, the circulating supply and the total supply, and it's a lot. The total supply is close to 1 trillion tokens, which is crazy. Now, what's really important is the fully diluted market cap. We don't see that here. We do see the market cap's at 71 million. And we do see that most of the supply has already been emitted. We're sitting at somewhere around 961 billion tokens circulating. So that's kind of a good thing because that means there's not a lot left to mint, most of which are already in circulation. But again, that is a lot of tokens, which is, it's going to make it hard to drive the price much higher because you're gonna have tokens selling from all different avenues. Now, again, it's all relative because really what it comes down to is the market cap. So keep that in mind. If the market cap is low relative to the market, then you might have a buying opportunity there. But with this one, I just don't like the value proposition of the token. I wouldn't want to be, in my opinion, again, this is not financial advice. This is strictly just my interpretation of things. I wouldn't want to be a holder of this token. I don't really see a major use case. I don't see what's going to drive the buying pressure to offset the node selling pressure. So, you're going to have a lot more sells than buys unless a huge catalyst comes out of nowhere to prop the price up. So, yeah, again, I'm not a huge fan of this token, but that is my analysis on the WIN token. Now, moving on to MagicCraft. Now, MagicCraft is another token that was promoted heavily by Mooncarl, and if you watched my last video on one of Mooncarl's tokens, you know that, again, I'm always super weary of these influencer tokens, and the reason for that is because a lot of times the tokens are allocated heavily to the team and the influencers or seed investors in the tokenomics, which result in a lot of instant selling pressure because these influencers get paid in the tokens and they want to cash out as soon as the token's released 90% of the time. They want to convert from the token into real money. So like stable coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, that's usually the cycle that you see with these tokens. And I'm not saying that's exactly what happened here. But again, if we look at the chart, you get the huge pump in the beginning and then a massive sell-off. Now, this token does look to be flattening out. I'm not a huge TA guy, technical analysis, but looking at the chart, it does look like there's some accumulation going on. We're getting a little bit of higher highs in the price action. It looks a little more natural on like now in the present day as it before it did not look natural. This first pump here is not natural. This looks like driven volume. So, a lot of hype. That's why you end up with these sharp peaks and then the massive sell-offs is because there's a lot of hype. A lot of volume in the beginning, and whether that's natural volume or the team trying to hype the token up, I'm not going to get into that. Again, I don't know the situation with MagicCraft, but it didn't look great in the beginning. It didn't look great at all. It's starting to look a little bit better. And when we go to the website, we are off to a lot better start than we were with, the previous token that we talked about, that Mooncarl shilled. And the reason for that is because when you go to the website, there's gameplay that's right there. As soon as you load up the website, you get a view of what the game is. You can see gameplay. There's lots of tabs to talk about the gameplay. If you go to their YouTube channel, again, you can see lots of gameplay there, how to use the characters, how to play. The game's in its beta, so you can actually play the game. That's a big step up from what we talked about previously. And again, that in my eyes is the big piece, right? When you're talking about a gaming crypto token, you want to see the game. Like you want the game to be prevalent. You want to, when you go to their YouTube page, that's what you expect to see. Now, they do talk about the token a lot on their YouTube page, but the channel does have lots of gameplay content. It does look like real people are playing this game, and the tokenomics don't look too bad. You can see here we got 10% in the private sale, 9% reserve fund, 3% for the public sale, which is pretty low. I mean, that is on the low end. 6% for liquidity, 12% for staking issuance, 22% to the team, 6% to advisors, and 31, almost 32% for the eco growth gaming issuance. Now, that can be a red flag when you see this much sitting aside for the eco growth. What that basically is a lot of these games are play to earn. So you play the game, you win tokens for winning in the game, and so they have to set aside tokens for that. So as long as that is how they're using the tokens and they're not, trying to roll up a bunch of other stuff into this 36% or 32%, meaning like, there's not some secret wallets that are selling that are the teams, then it's an okay thing to see. Like, they need the game to sustain. But the problem I always have with these pay to earn games is that eventually, regardless of, anything else, eventually that 32% is going to run out. There's not going to be enough tokens. So you need a way to continue adding value to the game. So that way there's a reason for people to keep playing despite the token issuance being down, meaning the eco growth. Now, some teams will replenish this fund. I don't know if that's the case here. But again, this is something pretty common that you'll see across. Now, the price, we looked at the chart earlier. It doesn't look great. But again, it does look like it might be rounding off here a little bit. Now, that's not saying that you should buy the token. Again, I'll leave that up to you guys. I'm just saying, from my observation, it looks a lot better than it did in the beginning. Now, the game itself kind of looks like Overwatch meets like League of Legends, kind of. It's not to take away from the devs, but it doesn't look like the most creative game. But I guess that's sort of besides the point. That's subjective. If you like the game, then great. At least there is a game out. Again, that is the biggest thing that we want to see, is a game out there. We want to see, if a token is going to be released, that there's a game. Now, I don't know. This one's been around for a little while. It looks like it started in January of this year, so I don't know if the token was released before the game or vice versa. But where it stands now, there is a game out. So, yeah, guys. So that's a surface level overview. The teams behind these look pretty, like standard. I'll say the team behind MagicCraft looks pretty standard. I don't really know the team behind the Tron token or the Win token. So, that one is sort of up in the air. Again, both of these, though, look like influencer shills. They look like tokens that influencers were paid to shill, or Justin Sun. In the case of the Win token, maybe there was a financial interest there. I don't know. But again, the price action that we saw in the beginning, or in the case of Win in the middle, does not look natural. You don't usually get these massive spikes and sell-offs just out of nothing, out of thin air. So either there was a big news event that happened, or there was just some manipulation of price. Again, this is all just my 2 cents, but I wanted to cover those tokens since they were requested in the comments of my previous videos. So I hope this answers your guys' questions who did request these, and all of you that might be speculating, on both of these tokens as well. Maybe you wanted some more insight. If this is your first time to the channel, guys, please like and subscribe. And with that being said, I will see you all next time.